its walls cracked and crumbling as though it had been abandoned for centuries. The windows were dark, and the air around it seemed to pulse with a dark energy, a palpable presence that made their hearts race with fear. No, no, this can't be real, Mira whispered, her voice trembling. The figure stepped forward, its form becoming clearer as it moved closer. The air grew colder still, and Kabir could feel his muscles tense as the figure's presence seemed to weigh down on them. "You were warned," the figure said, its voice echoing in the air. "You should have never come." Kabir tried to speak, but no words came. His throat was dry, his body paralyzed with fear. Behind him, he could hear the others shifting uneasily, but no one dared to move. We didn't know," Ankit stammered, his voice cracking. "We didn't know it would be like this." The figure raised its hand once again, and the ground beneath them began to tremble. The earth split open, revealing a dark, yawning chasm. "You have disturbed the peace," the figure intoned, "and now you will pay the price." With a wave of its hand, the ground trembled violently, and the four friends were thrown off their feet. Kabir felt himself falling, the earth giving way beneath him. The last thing he saw before everything went black was the figure's hollow eyes, staring at him with cold, unfeeling malice. Kabir's world spun as he fell into the darkness. The cold, empty void swallowed him, and for a few moments he felt weightless. His body seemed to be suspended in air, his limbs moving in slow motion, as though trapped in a nightmare that he couldn't wake from. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, he hit the ground with a sickening thud. His body jarred from the impact, and for a moment he could barely breathe. His vision was blurred and his head throbbed with an intense pain. But slowly, he gathered his senses, pushing himself up from the cold, hard ground. The air was thick with a suffocating heaviness. Kabir's lungs burned as he gasped for breath. He blinked rapidly, trying to focus on his surroundings. The fog that had engulfed the desert had now completely enveloped him, and the eerie silence felt deafening. "Kabir! Kabir!" He heard a familiar voice calling through the darkness. It was Raghav. Kabir stumbled toward the sound of his voice, his heart pounding in his chest. He could barely make out Raghav's figure in the mist, but it was enough to give him some semblance of comfort. "Raghav!" Kabir shouted, his voice trembling. "Where are we? What is this place?" "I don't know," Raghav replied, his voice tight with fear. "But this isn't the desert anymore.